Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is a wonderful June 18th, 2025. And as always, we have another banner night on our hands here. But before we get to the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, just to kick things off, we still have that PMU Material Enhancement campaign going on. What that means for those that are uninitiated, or you might have been staying under a rock, basically what that means is we get a special supply drop, one pull, one chance every day for anything from the lineup, guaranteed mobile suit from the lineup, and that also includes dupes. So this might be kind of a, on a whim, maybe a leap of faith, but you might get something different. So that's going on right now. We also have reinforced recon team containers jumping up from 10% to 25%. So definitely do those matches and you can get something really cool, some extra materials, some really cool stuff. On top of that, we also have triple the base rewards. So your XP, dueling points, and clan points all going up. So really cool stuff. We also have special missions right now as well. We're currently on the second round for the lovely water splotch camo. You also can get DP rewards as well as mechanic tickets and mechanic toolbox unlocks for those lovely tuning aspects that you need to do. So, without further ado, we have the F71 G-Cannon. Sorry, F70. Yeah, F71 G-Cannon, excuse me. This is a 2-star suit, and chances are, if illustrations serve me right, this is probably most likely a support. But before we get into deeper detail on that, we have a step-up supply drop for that suit. So just to kind of jump into the details right here, I believe we lead off with a half off for that pull, as well as step 2, step 3 being additional materials, and the third step guaranteeing a 2-star or above mobile suit guaranteed. The fourth step being your other half off, and then guaranteed step 5 for the suit. So pretty neat, I would say. If you have to have it, at least do the half pull and see where you stand there. But otherwise, I would say do it at your own risk because we are so close to anniversary. Anniversary is literally next month for Gundam Battle Operation 2. So again, can't stress it enough, do it at your own risk. We do have a limited supply drop reissue for the RF almost said Dom, excuse me. Zaku and the Goof, both are native 600s, but if you missed out on it, this is your chance to get it again, plus the 650 versions as their respective weapons. So really cool suits. I did struggle a little bit personally with the RF Zaku myself, but once things got going, it's a pretty fun suit, pretty substantial. I would say it's similar to akin to a higher cost version of the Zaku Stutzer. Lots of different things you can do. Definitely damage potential, and it's neat. Just no commander horn, sadly. Now, of course, the RF Goof, I haven't had any time with it, but I've seen it in action, and boy, does that thing slap things around. So, yes, a reissue. If you missed out on it, this is your chance to get it again. We do have some changes to the recycle ticket counter as follows, with the Semi-Striker level 2 being added to the counter there. So now the, I believe, 450 cost now is now available. I think this is normally a 400 native. So if you missed out on it, this is a pretty substantially interesting raid. I think you only get the one stun because it's a GM2 rifle. Not the greatest weapon in the world, and I think enough of us still continue to this day to try to tell them that the gun needs a bit of an update, especially with all the changes that are going on. But yes, digress. Besides that, very strong melee, or pretty decent melee at the very least. Definitely a fun suit. We do have some changes to the DP exchange counter as follows as well, with the Osula level 1, level 2 being added to it. This is normally a 550 native, but both the 550 and 600 now being added. You have the Jigen heavy equipment type now being added, the level 1, that's also 550, as well as the Jetta cannon. I believe this is a 500, might be 550 as well, but definitely in the 500 range. All of them respectively, 2 generals and a support. You missed out on this, you know, because of, you know, RNGesus. Well, this is your chance if you have that DP saved up to now get that. It's now forever unlocked. This situation battle for this weekend is called Frontline. Now to jump into the details, because, you know, I don't know who pulls the ideas from the naming hat and everything, but it looks like this may be a 8th MS themed fight. So you have Xeon there with the Yak guy, Zaku 1 Commander type, Dom, Zaku 2 Heavy Arm, Zaku 2, as well as the 8th MS team from the Z8 weapon rack, the ground type weapon rack, ground type 8th MS, GMs, and the regular GM weapon rack. Yeah. And the Zaku 2 will be, on the Xeon side, will be equipped with emergency evasion and melee combo control. So, unlike the normal Zaku 2 that has no swings, this one's getting it, as well as a roll. So, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting and nasty, for the very least. But yeah, for the rewards for this situation battle, the first week will be a random ground type level 2, and then the other one being a easy 8 weapon rack being at level 1, both are respectively 350. So, jumping back to our main event here for the G-Cannon, the F71 G-Cannon. This is a 2-star support at 600 cost to join its 600 cost heavy gun brethren, mass production type mobile suit in continuation of the gun cannon series from the 1 Year War, featuring a F90S type concept. It was originally designed by the Strategic Naval Research Institute, or the SNRI, as a F90S type prototype to eventually be mass produced. However, Anaheim redesigned it to utilize their existing components such as generators and thrusters. This move made it compatible with the heavy gun, using its various maintenance parts, leading to high productivity, limiting its functionality to that of a dedicated support unit, allowed for weight reduction and minimal transmission loss. In terms of performance metrics, such as thrust to weight ratio, it stood out from conventional mass-produced models, even surpassing the heavy gun in certain functions, improving its individual performance and mobile suit. As a result, it was able to adapt quite quickly, expanding its purpose beyond a handful of limited support roles. Some say to enhance its mobility, the 4-barreled machine cannons on its shoulders were removed. It can be deployed on ground and space, as expected. It does have a special unique skill called Bullet Feeder, which means if it reloads over with 30% remaining ammo, the reload time is reduced. So for those of us that like to reload on little times, definitely a plus. If you do it with less, it does not activate and the reload time is normal. Now, of course, if you are happening to just do those straight 10 pulls instead of doing the limited supply drop, and you missed out on the previous future Federation themed normal suits, this is your chance to get that. Both the regular normal suit and the helmet are still available for this right now, so pretty cool stuff. So, without further ado, let's see if RNGesus smiles upon us, and we'll get into the stats and everything. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, future Aoshi here, and unfortunately the gods did not smile upon us, as this being a 2-star, well, they got us. So, we'll just have to make do with what we can get, because, well, I think you guys know already. Anyways, jumping into the stats of things, we can already assess 19k HP, not a whole lot to play with, but we do have a heavy leaning on both beam and ballistic resistances, as expected with a support type of this nature. Very low melee resistances, so even the generals can have a little bit of fun with it. Ironically enough, this does have a little more leaning towards range power, but it has a little bit of melee strength as well, so not unusual, but at the same time, it's not something I would expect out of a support type, because you kind of don't really want to tussle and bustle up close, even as a last-ditch effort, considering your priority 1, and in most cases, not a lot of support types tend to come with balancers to kind of add a little bit of the rumble in the jungle there. But I digress. Despite that, this going into the movement side already, we have a movement speed of 130 for a micro suit. Pretty much good on par. Top speed of 205, which does kind of lean on the slower side as far as most of the newer suits come, but it's not as slow as a lot of the typical base support units that you might expect, especially at this cost range. So definitely seems like it could definitely keep up with the front line and doesn't require a whole lot of babysitting, maybe. Mainly because we are looking at a pretty generous thruster gauge of 75 and the turning speed of 69, which is actually pretty decent for a support as well. Now, going into the weapons side of thing, we do have a G-Cannon beam rifle. I believe this is unique, but very similar to the one that is used by the heavy gun. Base of 2000 there. 6 shots, 400 meter effective range, 4.5 second cooldown time, 18 second reload time, and a 2.5 second focus time, which means that obviously it's shoot to fire on stun. Focus fire is, I want to say, a burst fire and suppression. Hard to say. More than likely it may be a burst mode, just like the heavy gun, but until we actually see it in action, unless you've seen the trailer already, just don't know for certain, but I can assume as much. It does have its own unique beam saber coming in at 2450 with a 2.5 second cooldown time. Nothing super crazy as far as properties go. Going into the sub-weapon category, we have ×2 Vulcans, its own unique Vulcans, coming in at 110, 60 rounds in the mag, 200 meter effective range, and 15 second reload time. So based on that, I can only assume that it has a very high rate of fire, but beyond that, probably standard for the course as far as how much stun build it'll need as far as expended ammunition goes. So pretty standard, it seems. Now it does have beam guns right here. Base power of 500, heat rate of 45%, 250 meters with a 3.5 second cooldown time and a 17 second overheat, which lends me to believe that this is something that it's a burst fire maybe. They do say it's short range for modest damage, can be fired in quick succession for suppression. So I'm assuming that you fire twice before you overheat, and that will build stun pretty well. But again, kind of speculating on the information being sent to us here. We do now have the showpiece of the G-Cannon, the 4-barrel machine cannon, coming in base power of 150, 100 round ammunition, 400 meters, and 20 second reload time. Has ASL, but it also has to stop to fire. Now, this may take a little bit of inspiration to the mechanics of how a certain G-line suit tends to play, which may seem pretty good, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure how I would take this, considering that the damage on paper seems like it's good. It's got a lot of ammo, but what is the build stun time in here? Because based on this so far, the only real stun is going to be the beam rifle and maybe the beam gun. Although that's not to say that you probably can't stun with the machine cannon, it's just it might take a minute to do so. And with the introduction of microsuits at 600, I can see this potentially can be a little bit of a problem for this suit. Now, also, I want to say that this is just based on first glance. Again, stop to fire 400 meters. I would say this is kind of a cleanup type of weapon because we haven't even gotten to see the skills yet. It even comes with a shield as well, which, ironically enough, it has that shield bashing movement that I think a lot of people were also speculating. So chances are, just based on this alone and the kit and what we're looking at stat-wise, this is meant to midline and almost be like a support version of the heavy gun, which is no surprise because the parts are interchangeable. So it's kind of understandable that it would share a lot of the same properties as well, because going into the shopping list of skills, We have some usual suspects based on support things. We also have the frontline system as well, gimbal, flight control, glide structure, bouncers, which is always a plus, force injector 2, flap booster, and bullet feeder. So I almost want to say, because I'm bringing this topic up, we don't have it here, but I would almost say it is following in line with a particular RF Gelgoog, which, if you look at the skills here, minus the extra shenanigans, such as the Pursuit Ox programs there, it feels like it's taken inspiration, although I can easily say that, yeah, the weapons might be a little bit harder to kind of squeeze in those machine cannons, but I mean, I would say if you played enough G-Line, this might be a suit that you might vibe with really well. So, pretty neat. It's finally here. I know a lot of people have been waiting, and now we'll have to wait and see what it can do, because based on that, it could be really cool. It definitely has a lot of maneuverability going for it. Obviously, because of the fact that it's, you know, a support, there's definitely no chance of it getting maneuver armor, although it would be rather funny and hilarious. Actually, checking something really quick. I realize there's no dodge on this one either, but you do have force injector 2 and flap booster, so this will definitely help with it kind of keeping away from a lot of the shenanigans and denizens of 600, but I don't know. Will it be enough? Only time will tell, or if you've already played it and ran into it, or vice versa. So that'll be it for today's update, as it's a very short one considering we didn't get the new suit, so can't really demonstrate it, and due to other financial obligations, this may be the normal thing going forward. So I want to know what you guys think about the new suit. It seems neat, but again, it's a 2-star. We have anniversary literally around the corner, so I won't be heavily trying to go for this. Plus, again, like I mentioned before, I have other obligations that prevent me from doing as much as we used to do. It's kind of taken its toll more so. So let me know what you guys think, how we can do better with this in going forward, because I definitely do want to check these new suits out, but at the same time, unfortunately, unless I am scraping down the barrel, it definitely does require a little bit more of a investment that I cannot afford anymore. So with that said, have a great night, and I will see you guys all on the next video. Take care.